There is a tireless film called Field of Dreams. It's a great movie about lots of things, but especially the power of sport. In it, Kevin Costner builds a baseball diamond in his corn paddock because a voice says to him, "If you build it, he will come." Well, as a government, we have built and continue to build things so that women can participate in sport. And you know what we have proven? If you build it, she will come. And she will bring her friends. And that is something I think we should all celebrate. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to the 5th Women in Sport Summit. I'm delighted that Queensland is hosting Australia's largest women's sport forum. Last week, as I headed to Tokyo on a trade mission, I was very pleased to share the plane with the Australian swimming team off to the World Swimming Championships. And how proud did I feel seeing all of those women on the plane. This week, we will host the planet's largest women's sporting event, the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup. It includes this month's Matildas match against Nigeria, which is tipped to be a sellout crowd at Suncorp Stadium. And half of the Matildas got their start in Queensland clubs. Already 245,000 tickets have been sold for FIFA events in Queensland, which underlines the point I made earlier that women's sport continues to grow in popularity, and that is only a good thing. I'm sure that you noticed that Brisbane is the sports capital of Australia and in the top 15 sporting capitals of the world. So the conference is in the right spot. Brisbane is the only city in Australia to host both an AFL and NRL grand final. This is a reputation that will only grow as we head to 2032. Just a small event happening in 2032. Anyone who has anything to do with sport knows that it begins and ends in the community. Nothing happens without grassroots support. As a government, our support for women's sport extends from the club level all the way to our plans for the 2032 Olympic and Paralympic Games. In the past 5 years, we've allocated $29 million to fund 117 projects to provide even the most basic change room facilities at clubs for women and girls. Now, why is this important? Well, just recently I was speaking to some of the players from the Queensland Reds rugby side, and they said to me, "We cannot believe these facilities that are here for us." And they said, "Let me tell you, we used to get changed in the car, we used to get changed in the paddock, we used to get changed behind any tree we could find, you know, so men had it all and women didn't. And you've got to level that playing field, and that basic playing field requires equal opportunity of facilities, and that's what we are doing as well." Now, the results for participation are staggering. I want to share some of those results with you today too. Nearly 18,000 Queensland women of all ages and levels play football, a 34% increase. AFL has 8,000 female players, an increase of 380%. Cricket has a 422% increase. And more than 70,000 women and girls now participate in football as players, coaches, referees, administrators and volunteers. At the elite level, as I was mentioning earlier, Queensland is the new home of women's rugby. This is thanks to the partnership with the federal government delivering a new centre of excellence at Ballymore. As well as the home of the Wallaroos, it is slated for the Olympic hockey in 2032. Along with the home of the AFLW in Springfield, these are 2 Olympic venues that are now ready. They typify the growth in women's sport. The cheers for female athletes are just as loud and just as spirited as they are for the men. Likewise, the honour boards of our clubs now celebrate the names of our daughters as well as our sons. And that is something that we should all be proud of. And of course, all of us are looking forward to the Olympic and Paralympic Games. This weekend marks 9 years to go. As the IOC says, the only downside about our games is that we have to wait 9 years to see them. But it is giving us a huge advantage in terms of planning and the long-term benefits for communities that will be felt right across Queensland. For example, we've been able to establish a legacy process to plan what we want to achieve in 2032 and beyond. 500 community and business leaders participated in a legacy forum generating more than 14,000 ideas. And the top of the list of ambitions for our Games came down to one word: inclusion. Our communities want 2032 to be the spark that encourages more inclusion in our communities. For First Nations people, for people with disabilities, for women and girls. Creating better facilities for female and para athletes and spectators is one of the main reasons we are redeveloping our main stadium at the Gabba. The benefits of this will last long after the closing ceremonies, and I'm proud of that achievement. I'm sure you've often heard that we cannot be what we cannot see. And I think what we know now is that there is incredible momentum in women's sport in this country. And I believe that Queensland can firmly lead the way. I look back and I think about when I was a 10-year-old and you were told that you could not play certain sports because only men played them and you were a girl. And I look now and I see those 10-year-olds across Queensland with the opportunity to participate equally in any sport that they choose. This is progress and this is change. And every one of you in this room today is part of this change movement. So what we will see over the next years and the next decades is this huge momentum for more and more participation. And change also needs to come at the top as well. So getting those women onto those male-dominated sports boards has helped also bring about that change. But now we'll be able to have more women on more boards promoting female sport. And that is a good thing because female participation at any level has a whole range of benefits. So, thank you very much everyone for coming along today. I think it's wonderful to see you all, and the future is bright. The future is bright for women in sport, and I know that the people in this room will continue to generate that wonderful change that we are seeing, and isn't it an exciting time to see women in sport growing from strength to strength. Thank you for everything that you do.